Hello, everybody. My guest today is Paul Tashima. He's the CEO and co-founder of Nudge.ai, a relationship intelligence platform that helps businesses find and grow the right relationships to drive revenue. He's a successful technology executive who has run services, customer success, account management, support, and product management teams. As part of Eloquoa's executive team, he helped lead the company from zero to over 100 million in revenue, then through IPO and a successful acquisition for $957 million by Oracle. He's a big believer that culture trumps strategy every time, and that storytelling is an essential part of creating a business. He's had a successful track record as a leader with a strong focus on sales and customer engagement. Paul, are you ready to take us to the top?
I am. Thanks, Nathan, for having me on board today.
You bet. So I love it when someone who came out of, taking Eloquoa to 0 to 100 million, right? You had the corner office, you were doing the big thing. You say, you know what, I'm going to go and start all over from scratch. I'm going to go back to the foldy tables and the computers that don't have all the specs on them because we're trying to save some cash. So tell us about Nudge.ai. What's it doing? How do you make money?
So Nudge.ai, we are a relationship intelligence platform. So what we focus on is tracking the strength of relationships within the business network and finding ways as a salesperson, particularly a B2B salesperson, use those relationships to get access to accounts and then ultimately close deals. And that's where our focus is.
What signals are you using to measure strength of relationship?
So we are using actual communication signals. So your email, your calendar, your phone. It's not proxied by social media or connections on LinkedIn. It's the fact that you are having a real relationship, real interactions with people. That's what we measure.
How is this? I mean, do you remember Conspire, Brad Feld, those guys invested, and then Full Conduct took it up, and then, Bart just said, hey, we're shutting this thing down. It's not working. How are you different than Conspire?
I think we're different in a couple things. First off, I think I think Conspire was a fully automatic opt-in across the board. And so I think a lot of commercial sales teams were reticent in coming on board. So it's an opt-in process to share that information with others on our platform. We have about 20,000 users on it today. And what happens is if you're a B2B sales team and you want to know if someone on your board or someone in your customer advocacy group has access to a new target account, we can tell you, and whether it's with a strong relationship or a weak relationship.
Okay, I think I understand this. Let me rephrase this. I am an LP in many venture capital funds. I am flying to San Francisco and really want to meet with venture capitalist X. I can go put in the managing directors of funds I've invested in and try and see which one of them has a connection to venture capital X in San Francisco.
That's right. If you are sharing that with those people, in other words, if they were part of your universe of Nudge users that you share that with, that would be great.
I see. So good. That's what I was going to ask you. Are there security issues there? So what you're saying is I have to say, hey, allow friend X to have access to my connections and to see who I'm closest with so that they can then ask me for those intros if they want them.
That's correct. And in an actual corporate setting, all the people within a team or corporation share automatically. And so you automatically get to see, the head of IT or the chief people officer, who they know. And then that way, as a salesperson, you really can take advantage of the real relationships within your network.
So Paul, let me ask you a question. So in my email, let's say I'm working at a company, everyone else in the company has access to understand my connections. So I've connected my LinkedIn with you, my inbox with you, my chat with you, my text with you on my phone, my calls on my phone. Let's say I have a secret lover that I want nobody to know about. How do I make sure that only the texts and the emails from my secret lover never show up to my coworkers?
Well, first thing, we never look at the contents of anything that is sent, the contents or of the calendar or the email. So we're only going to know names and we're going to know the back and forth time and date. 2, you can at any time hide someone completely from the system. So I'm not saying that's come up ever before, but if you for some reason wanted that, you can just hide that person. They'll never show up ever again in Nudge.
If you don't look at content of the email, though, how do I know that my coworker is connected to potential new partner Y if you're not reading the emails they sent to potential partner Y?
Because there's a lot you can gain. You can get 80 to 90% there just on the understanding the frequency, the balance, the type of interaction. For example, if you have a one-on-one meeting with someone that's gone over for the last 2 years, every 6 to 8 weeks or so, that's a pretty strong relationship. That person is someone you're engaging with on a regular basis, and it's just you and that person. If you have a flurry of activity and a whole bunch of back and forth emails in one meeting and then it disappears, that's a sales call that didn't go any further. And so it's those types of things we can learn. And today we track about 50 million business relationships on the platform. And so we can we've learned what makes a real relationship and what doesn't.
Interesting. So where LinkedIn might show, if I visit your profile, when people search for Paul, they also search for boom, 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 and I'll probably get a list of everyone else at your company. This is an opt-in version of that, and it's a much stronger signal because I'm seeing the time and frequency of when you emailed or when you called or when you did whatever with X or Y other people.
That's correct. And LinkedIn's great. Don't get me wrong. It's a fantastic business network. It just doesn't have the strength of connection.
Sure.
And today, everyone has more connections than ever before.
Paul, you put that you grew Eloquoa or helped grow Eloquoa to 100 million in your bio. So you're a capitalist and a money guy, which I love. How do you make money on this thing?
We sell it. So we sell, if you're a sales professional, a head of sales, and you want your team to get access to target accounts through the network, you buy Nudge per seat for every sales user in the organization and every other person you want to see their network. And then 2, we plug in the analytics into CRM so that if you want to track how a deal is progressing and whether the salesperson is growing the right relationships with the right people, you can see that right in CRM. And so that's how we make money. We charge heads of sales to put this tool in place.
And on average, I don't want to go down every customer cohort because we can get lost quickly, but on average, what are people paying per seat per month?
Our straight down the middle product is $30 per user per month, US.
Okay, got it. And would you say that does capture your average fairly accurately?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Give me more of the backstory here. When did you leave? I assume you left Eloquoa and went directly into this, right?
When we got by Oracle, I stayed on for a year to help with the transition. And in October 2013, I took 2 months off. And then my co-founder, Steve Woods, and I started Nudge.
Is that a sexy way to say you had to stay at Oracle for a year to get by the earnout?
We didn't have an earnout.
None at all. I don't believe you. There was nothing to help with retention of key employees?
I mean, there was additional upside.
Okay.
There was no revesting. We owned all our shares. We could have walked away on day one after the acquisition was confirmed.
Got it. Okay. So you left, you take a 2-month break, and then where did you find your co-founder?
So Steve Woods was a co-founder at Eloquoa as well. So we've been working together for almost 18 years now.
That's good. Okay, I love that. So now you guys launched this company. I'm going to guess, based off your history, you said, why would we use our own money when we could probably easily raise other people's money to grow this? So how much have you raised?
So today we've raised just a little over 7 million US. And we have put some of our own money in, but it is a good way to test the business to see if you can go raise money. Even as second-time entrepreneurs, it's still a good way to test the business. How do you,
because we have a lot of second-time entrepreneurs that listen to the show, and they always go, Nathan, you need to ask questions like this one. So Paul, when you go out and raise additional capital, after it is clear, and everyone in the market knows you just had a big win, how do you overcome the obvious, which is the investors going, Paul, why do you need us to give you $7 million? Use your own. You just made a killing.
I don't think they ever come with that objection. They actually want to be part of the second one. So they're actually looking at it as an opportunity to de-risk another investment with entrepreneurs who've done it before. I think, to be fair, probably the question they may ask is, how do we know you have fire in the belly anymore?
Yeah, right? Like it's hard to motivate a guy once you make him rich.
Yeah, and so that's all up to you as an entrepreneur to prove to them you still have passion. I mean, we could have retired if they're staying at Oracle for 4 years probably, but instead we're going to go back at it, and we want to do something big, and we explain why and our passion for it, and I think that's why they buy into it.
I love that. Okay, so and what year was that?
So we didn't do the VC financing round till 2015.
Sorry, I meant when did you launch the company?
Oh, well, we started coding probably back in late 2014. But we didn't come out with a product. It was a pretty long build for about 2 years till we came out with something that we thought people could play around with.
Wow. And so you basically funded it with your own money for 2 years before doing that raise.
Yeah, effectively. Sat and some friends and family, yes.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, and what have you scaled to today in terms of total customers using you?
So we only launched the commercial product around 5 months ago.
Which would have been, what's that, December 2017?
Yeah, a little before that, probably beginning of Q4. And so we now have over 30 customers. Our largest is 1,000 sales seats.
That's amazing. What are those customers on average? Like how many seats would you say? 400, 500 or 10, 20?
Oh, yeah, in that range. But it ranges, to be fair, we have a self-service offering on one end where you can plug in for 10 users and never talk to us ever again. And then we have our managed service offering with sales and customer success. And yeah, you're over 200, 300, 400 seats into the higher end.
Let me ask that question differently. How many seats would you say are on your platform today across all your logos?
Oh, we have well over 20,000 seats on the platform.
That's amazing. Okay, so you definitely see kind of the 80-20 rule where you have some big customers that make up, well north of 10% of your revenue currently.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, good. And how are you signing these folks up? Are these ex-Eloquoa relationships, people that have left and joined other companies? I mean, how are you getting these initial customers?
It's a spectrum of everything from, yes, some relationships that were from the past, to some of the users who are on the product who are in a trial or free, and us helping them upgrade and go through that process from the product led side.
Okay, but I imagine you're too early in terms of you don't have any engines spun up where there's direct paid acquisition and you're calculating CAC to payback period, all that jazz, right?
I mean, we calculate that stuff, but the error bars are massive on it. So I would say, yeah, you're right. It's not at a point where you'd say, okay, if you put in X dollars, this is exactly what comes out the other side. No,
sure.
We're pre that kind of scaling part of Series B or late Series A.
Yep. But just to be clear, just to get a general range, I mean, with 20,000 seats at $30 average pop, I mean, you're somewhere in the $600,000 per month range at this point, right? In terms of MRR.
Yeah. So sorry, I should really be clear. Not all of those are paid seats. So we have some of those are freemium. Some of those are premium. They're paying individually. Some of those are self-service, and then some of those are managed.
Okay.
So we have 4 tiers. And I would say the majority are free, to be fair.
Yep. Okay. So I mean, can we say like usually 10% of a user base is paying sometimes? I mean, are you guys somewhere around 2,000 paid seats?
Yeah, that's a good ballpark range. Maybe a little more than that.
And the reason I want to ask is because you're in a valuable spot of building a business. You're right at the beginning, and you're a guy that just went through it, so you know the playbook and you're executing it. And I think that's a good barometer and benchmark for listeners to understand. So you launched it 4 or 5 months ago, right? You're now at 2,000 seats, $30 pop, so maybe more like $60,000 per month in revenue today versus 600.
Yeah, it's more in that range. And I will say that I am much more focused on. And this is probably a good point, on just massively growing seats. It's getting to some large enterprises and seeing that product market fit, that must have, renewable, need to have piece. And so I'm probably more balanced on that than on just sheer volume of seats.
Yep. So let me ask some questions around that. What do you know once someone has paid for a seat and they're being onboarded? What do you know you have to get that seat to do in the first 24 hours where they're going to be way stickier?
So let me break this into 2 parts. We actually lead with an analytics play for sales management first, and then the end user tools are 2. So on the analytics side, what we need to do is identify some single-threaded deals for sales management. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe that's in forecast. I'm going to go talk to the reps and make sure that they do their work on broadening the relationships of that account, right? Or it won't close. So that first aha moment of seeing a deal that, wow, that wouldn't have actually closed unless I got involved in it, is for the sales management. And then on the sales user side, it's just, hey, if we show you something that gives you a chance to get one more meeting, we produce some insight around the person or some access point that gets you a meeting you never would have had. That's an aha moment. That's a wow.
Interesting. Okay. All right, good. And so do you have 2,000 seats? Isn't a huge cohort, but it's enough. I mean, are you looking yet at, if a seat does X, Y, and Z in the first week, they're X% more likely to bring on 3 additional seats? Like, are you looking at expansion revenue metrics yet or no?
We are. I would say that we probably know there's 3 or 4 things that they have to have set up to be successful. But I wouldn't say that we know the order. In other words, there's no correlation to order so far. We definitely know the cohort. We do cohort analysis every month, and every month our cohort 90-day retention goes up. So we're doing something right, but we still haven't figured out that magic path yet.
What's it at today? What's it north of?
It's north of 35% for 9 days.
So just to be clear, if someone signs up on a paid account in the first, you'll retain 35% free.
Oh, no, this is for all, including free.
Okay.
So our paid is much higher.
I was about to say 35%. I'd be worried.
No. This is a free. This is massively influenced by the free base. Because that's important too. Because the free base, if they're happy, that's our lead pool for selling into our paid base, right?
Yep. Have you churned any paid customers to date or no?
Oh yeah, we've churned some small paid customers, but no large ones.
Okay, and is that would you say sub 3% logo churn per month? Do you generally have what that number is yet, or no? It's too early.
It's too early for that, but it's low. It's low. It's not below what I would expect at this stage of the business by any means. Sorry, not above. Not above. The churn is not above what I would expect in the first sort of year of selling.
What do you expect? I mean, what do you give us that benchmark?
Oh, I mean, I always think you got to be under 1.5% of total MRR churn per month as you start to scale. That's the benchmark we used at Eloquoa that held us true. And then you always look at a net retention on top of that.
I was going to say, was that 1.5% revenue churn per month? Was that net revenue churn or gross revenue churn?
No, that's gross revenue churn.
Pre-expansion.
Because I think you got to look at those things as 2 different signals, right? Net is a great way to hide both.
Yeah.
But expansion, you could be expanding on 3 accounts that are big and then losing a whole bunch of small ones, and it tells you something about the business still. So you need to look at them separately.
Okay, good. CAC, it's too early. LTV, that kind of stuff, it's too early. I mean, even payback period, really too early for that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, that's right. Like I mentioned, we're excited about the self-service revenue streams and the credit card stuff, but we're really focused on, can we grow a small account to a large account, and do they lock in for 2 years after that?
What's your team size right now?
It's 22 people.
Okay, where are you guys all based?
Toronto, Canada.
Everybody?
Everybody.
Oh, wow, that's great. Okay, good, very good. All right, Paul, let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, what's the last business book that you read?
Oh, the last business book I read was the Sales Development Handbook by Trish Bertuzzi.
The Sales Development Handbook?
Yeah.
Okay, number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying right now?
No.
Okay, number 3, besides your own, what's your favorite online tool for building the business?
Oh, I love Full Story.
That's a good one.
Intercom, and Full Story, both.
Are you angels in either of those?
No.
Okay, all right. Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
6.
That's good. And what's your situation, Paul? Married, single, have kiddos?
Married with kids.
How many?
2.
2, okay. And how old are you?
I'm 45.
45. Last question. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
I wish they knew. I wish my 20-year-old self knew how hard it is to build a business.
Guys, it's hard to build a business. There you got it from Paul. Was there early at Eloquoa with one of the founders, Dave. They built that, obviously sold that to Oracle, stayed there for about a year, then left, took a 2-month break, partnered up with, again, former colleague in Dave. They didn't get sick of each other through the Eloquoa story, which obviously makes sense because it was a successful one. Now they are jumping into relationship intelligence. Basically, you connect up your feed. I say, yes, Paul, you can have access to my network. Paul can then see who I'm close with and ask for more appropriate intros from stronger signals than you really can get anywhere else. I love the business concept. They're scaling. They're now at 22 people, launched in 2014, spent about 2 years building the product using their own money. They've now raised $7 million, serving about 2,000 seats across 30 logos. Doing call it, say, 60 grand per month-ish right now in revenue and scaling quickly up there in Toronto. Paul, thank you for taking us to the top.
Thanks, Nathan, for having me.